Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Ni no Kuni. So a lot has happened since the last recording. Um, I've been having this problem certainly with my computer. Long story short, I think there's something wrong with the most recent uh, version of Windows 10 and Windows 11 with the trusted platform module, if you know what that is, working in conjunction with an AMD processor. It seems like there's been this problem for months, and I've been having this problem of micro stuttering and then actual physical damage happening to my RAM and possibly my video card. I think, yes, even my video card is going to have to be sent back. And so now I have my old video card in, although it doesn't seem like it's probably going to change the graphic settings here, but it's worth pointing out. So I have half the amount of RAM and slower, older RAM in my CPU, in my computer right now. Um, the good news is it seems like by installing a beta version of the motherboard BIOS, which is what interacts with the CPU, that may have fixed the problem. It at least fixed a symptom of the problem that it took me forever to really figure out what was going on with my computer. I have no idea at all. It was extremely confusing and odd that there would just be such an incredibly horrible uh, problem happening with just RAM stick after RAM stick after RAM stick getting short circuited, to the point where I did for 2 weeks have to send back my motherboard and didn't have a computer at all for 2 weeks, and really have taken another whole week after that. So it's been at least 3 weeks, probably a little bit longer than that, since I last played. Um, so yeah, things might run a little bit differently. I'm still hoping and crossing my fingers that everything works now and is okay. Um, but yeah, suffice it to say, I've taken a significant break from Ni no Kuni, and I don't really remember what we're doing. I guess we're looking for the hideout of Kubala, King of the Sky Pirates. And so we'll take that if I can hit the right button. Uh, for some reason, I keep hitting the B button. Probably because I was playing the Nintendo Switch and the buttons are reversed in that Nintendo Switch during that time. Hmm. So I guess if I'm right in front of Deep Dark Wood, then my guess. Let's see. Let's figure out the buttons here for a second. Yeah, okay. D-pad quests. I'm basically going to have to relearn everything at the moment. Hmm. Shopkeeper in Fairground is entirely incapable of being nice to his customers. I have no idea what that means. Restore his courage to make him real soldier. These are just getting pieces of hearts, aren't they? So we just need niceness and courage and things like that. And then we're still looking for that one more pigeon. Um, as far as the boy and his burden, never did find that. Mm. Car rock Ike for a feel good fungus. Apparently is what I'm supposed to do as far as in the cauldron. Hmm. Then we have some other ones that we can get. Hmm. And these are the bounty hunt ones, so we need to look for those too. Let me just take a quick moment to figure out what we're looking for. Hmm. Yeah, I think we're trying to replace this guy with something else to show that off, but it won't be something that we can even collect here. Let's see, how do we pull up the map? Hmm. B, right bump. That'd be the map. And Y can kind of tell us where we're supposed to go. But I think we have a lot of abilities right now. So we are in a pretty good position to run around and just kind of investigate everything. We were supposed to, I think, revisit the tree at some point, but now may not be really the time that you need to revisit this. So, just to quickly catch up as to what's changed with Ni no Kuni since then, in the time that it's happened, uh, between the last recording and this recording, uh, hmm, we'll talk to this guy, and we'll try not to. Hmm, hmm. So apparently, old Father Oak used to be a traveler. Hmm. So he may be our hint dispenser if he ever came back. Hmm. 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 So we got something from talking to him. I wonder if we talk to him again, we'd get something else. So arguably, it might have been somewhat doable that you could have come back here and gotten some more rewards. Yeah, I'm a little scatterbrained at the moment. They've come out with this Ni no Kuni Crossworlds mobile game that has like cryptocurrency and NFTs and microtransactions all in it. Um, yeah, it seems to have really embraced the worst of the worst while also selling very much on this Ghibli-esque animation style. Um, at a certain level, I guess, Ni no Kuni as a series was either going to stand on its own and come out with a potential third game in the series and just keep on going down that direction, or it was going to try to have mobile spin-offs and make as much money as possible. Uh, at a certain level, any new series is very much running into that temptation of, do I need to even capture characters in this area? I mean, you might as well do it and just grind out XP, even if these are fairly low level creatures that we don't really need extra copies of. Of course, every time we do this, this is going to be really hard to like attack something and capture it. And I guess the question is that really worth your time to get 3 gold and 7 XP? I think the answer is probably no on that aspect. Uh, so we took one way and we didn't investigate the other way. So we should investigate the other way. There's still definitely chests that we can't open yet. Let's see. You have to hit X and then you have to cast Spring Lock. And all we're really trying to do at this aspect is finish the map, clear off the map, and see if it marks it as 100%. And it does it somewhere, but I don't remember where. It is fair to point out, I think, that Dragon Quest also has, they have like made 12 different Dragon Quest projects that are in the works at the same time. Hmm. This really is going to show, though, a great example of just how, if these were, if these guys were just so small level that you could capture them immediately instead of going into the whole fight sequences, or defeat them immediately and get XP, you could really speed things up instead of drag this out. We're already 33 hours in. Uh, let's see. There's a path this way, and then there's a path this way. I don't inherently object, I should say. It's just an opinion, and I really haven't looked personally at the Ni no Kuni mobile game, but I don't object to the idea of a mobile version of the game coming out. Um, Although it also kind of doesn't include any of the characters from this first game either, so that, like, your mileage is going to vary definitely because of that. If you've only played the first game, it's characters all from the second game, I think more. If this is effectively a Pokemon, I don't remember how to do this. All right. Esther, Serenade. We probably already have a Jabber. But if we don't, whatever. We can always release it to the wild later. It's not like it's costing us even gold. It's just costing us time. Hmm. Hmm. Of course, you've got all that extra time. I don't even remember what spells I have, so it's very possible that there's a spell here that I don't even remember. Nature's Tongue. Gee, if I could cast that, and then that would stop me from fighting people. That would probably be nice. Hmm. And that, like, breach time is never going to really do anything. Hmm. Like, I really don't recall having one of these. Of course, I could probably just look at my inventory and find out. Hmm. But really, there should be a Pokemon that is just like regular Pokemon games on mobile phones instead of several spin-off Pokemon games on mobile phones that are also fairly microtransaction-y. Uh, but and there should be a mobile game for Ni no Kuni. But yeah, it should also not potentially ruin a franchise. And the problem certainly comes back around when you have uh, situations where the the entire franchise may be spoiled by a bad release instead of love for a franchise being grown by adding a mobile version. Seems like even the game knows I have no clue what I'm doing. It's gotta be in here somewhere. Let's see. Bottomless bag. Hmm. See, we have, I think, a whole fast travel system. There's a whole fast travel spell. There we go. Dangerous places. This should be it. 100%. That's what we were trying to do. Certainly, is we were trying to do deep dark wood because it was a dangerous place that we knew we could do 100% on, whereas seemingly everything else requires still the purple spells. So I think it is probably better to get back onto the path of doing the story. I don't even remember how long these episodes were going. I'm gonna just have to assume they were 2 hours. That's pretty much how I was doing all these RPGs. It definitely isn't a terrible idea to take a 3-week break in the middle of playing an RPG. Um, Species tamed, for instance. Okay, so it would have a heart next to it if we owned it. I really don't need to be looking at these way low numbers. I need to be looking at these high numbers. Hmm. It is weird. Come to think of it. For it. Hmm. So are some of these monsters potentially going to come back around? Like Teeny Bopper here. Yeah, we don't have a Teeny Bopper, but Teeny Bopper oddly is also a 221 number when we should have probably been seeing them at the very beginning of the game, and they should be a number 1. So that does imply to me that there's an argument to coming back to these areas and running around. Perhaps it's still a little too early to pull that off. And really, this is the only location that I think it makes a lot of sense to do that in. Every other location is still going to require that final ability. Because you're running into a problem here where either you're going to have to cast a spell to. Yeah, I don't think I've even seen that other character. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I don't think I've even ever seen a Spitoo. Inherently, there's a long history with with mobile games that we have to look back on and realize that it's always been the dark path, as it were, of video games. When you had a Game Gear version or a Game Boy version, and arguably I think Game Boy versions should be focused on even more, they were extremely short. They were pretty bad. Game Boy games originally 4 shades of grayscale, um, just like pathetically lacking in color details. Um, they were always um, the trick, the bad version of items of games. And mobile games have not done anything to make that better. Hmm. Okay, so we can just straight up levitate, which works, but it doesn't allow you to float in the air. So I don't know if those eyes are supposed to be anything of importance. If we can levitate now, why do we need to breathe life into brooms? Hmm. Yeah. I think those are just eyes. I think that that doesn't lead to anything. And this will be an interesting experiment as to just seeing how long levitate lasts. About that long. Hmm. And remember, I have the run ability already enabled, unless I've forgotten that you had to press a button or something there. So if you never acquired the run ability, which you pretty much have to, um, you would certainly suffer greatly through that and trying to chase after these fleeing characters or stealth into them. This is definitely a taste of where an attempt to obsessively collect each of these monsters would get incredibly redundant. And that's something where in a mobile game it might make some more sense. Um, but yeah, suffice it to say, we have a long history of mobile games being bad, whereas mobile games basically have to be advertising, in my opinion, um, for a larger AAA console game, and that it is something that you probably have to give away for free. Maybe you could charge for, but it's not something that I really expect the quality to be great on, nor is it something that I expect to to be necessary or required. Uh, so if a theoretical Ni no Kuni 3 came out, I would definitely not expect that the game would force me to have played the mobile game. Hmm. Interesting. We still have a point where we can't fly, and we know through the trailer at the beginning of the game, which just spoils the whole game, that that will be a thing later. Hmm. And so we could run around here. I'm just trying to get my sea legs back on me more than anything. Like B jumps, A doesn't run, everything else does something. Yeah. ship is here, and then the forest is down there. And I feel like we very well may have been in this city already. So I don't particularly feel a need to go back to the city yet. It almost feels like with that cave that there would be a way to enter that cave too, which means maybe there is going to be some way to walk on water or swim. Otherwise, the game is just oddly depicting a cave for no reason. Yeah. Fairly certain we have caught some of these. It would really only be in the previous area and this area where it would uh, even start to make sense that let's see. Did the serenade guy die because I didn't move fast enough? Yeah, it would almost certainly be in this area that there would be some kind of characters, some collection of characters that we hadn't seen, and either they're going to come back, or we're going to come back and they're going to be a lot more powerful than they seem to be now, or it is just going to be this laughably easy fight. And yeah, in these trees could be any kind of secret area, and in any of these secret areas there might be something we haven't dealt with before, or it might just be people we have dealt with before. See. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see, we've got this guy, this treasure chest, and we've got to be able to shoot it. So there is something there. I'm just gotta figure out how to use the gun to shoot it. Previously, I thought it was just kind of a prompt. Let's see. Hmm. It's not any of these spells, I'm almost certain. Because that's all the spells. Every day is all spells. Hmm. Right. And just like a lot of places here that you can't get up the wall. Seems so weird that you would like you would need to shoot the thing and then not have the prompt to do it. And it's so weird that you can't even get slightly higher up. Let me see. Maybe it's a left trigger, left bump, right bump thing. Nothing on the D-pad. Like, but we know that that's the thing. So there must be some other trick. So yeah, we're just kind of spinning our wheels here, aren't we? Wasting time. Yeah, and almost certainly we are going to end up getting monsters using monster tickets. It just does not make a lot of sense that we would have to run around the field and waste such a significant amount of time. We'll go back to Ding Dong Dell. It's very questionable what we could do here, if anything. I bet we don't run into anybody with any pieces of heart or anything like that. We could run through the dungeon. We may very well have already been around. We got that one already, so we've probably been in this whole area already. Getting 10 gold is pathetically small amounts of gold. We really don't have a real reason to buy components at the moment. Not until I get back more into the groove of playing this game. Nothing has changed in this environment quite yet, so there is a believable possibility that something might change later. Okay. Take heart. I guess we don't have any beliefs, so we'll collect some. And that'll help us figure out what else we may need. There's our pigeons, but they all flew right away. So if those were the pigeons I was supposed to be looking for. This guy, I think, needs something. Give heart courage. I'm not sure if this isn't really a case where this is something that you're just going to constantly be allowed to do. And I just have like no interest at all in really reading out loud any of this text at this point. So apologies if I was reading a lot more of this before and now I'm being more stingy about what I read. But yeah, we're gonna try and save some time here. Yep, they have absolutely nothing to say. Yeah, and I guess I could go check the dungeon. It's not really gonna hurt me too much. Hmm. But yeah, we can definitely see not much has changed here, and so I should probably just move the story forward. Inherently, that probably means that getting the ability to travel to places you've already visited was handed prematurely. I doubt there's a way I can levitate and, yeah, get up to that, for instance. Some of this does definitely feel like there could be all kinds of secret areas. Hmm. This is mostly just going to be a mad rush. Because if anything sees me, it's probably going to run away. I mean, we could see if maybe a spell now might work. Alright, levitating does not let you over that, nor does it let you create a bridge. Hmm. So I really have to question whether a lot of these spells are going to ever have any value in previous places. Which, in all fairness, even some of the Zelda games, if you go back to the first dungeon and you have a whole bunch of abilities, you're probably not going to be able to really do anything with them. Arguably, the game should be better designed so that when you come back to a dungeon and you have a reason to come back to a dungeon, there is major improvements. Uh, at least in some movement tech. Again, this may be a character that we just haven't captured because it was too early in the game before serenading was even a thing. Which at a certain point, if you're going to go with that style of slowly introducing abilities and capturing monsters is going to be a late addition, then you might as well, as soon as you get the ability to capture monsters, hand the player a collection of monsters that they've seen up until that point. Um, and that would be actually fairly nice, anyways, in Pokemon games if the first, say, journey from the first city to the second city was just a tutorial area where you fought Pidgeys and small Pokemon, Ratatats, things like that. Um, and after you got to the first city, you got a welcome package that gave you about 12 Pokemon that you would have seen on the way there. And then you would have started getting your first Pokeballs and capturing your first Pokemon. These guys have nowhere to run, which I think highlights the problem with narrow dungeons in this game. Alright, left bump this Serenade. And it sure would make a lot of sense that you would just be able to tell her by default to auto serenade all serenadable characters. I'm surprised I managed to level up. Peter Rabbit. Is it one of the characters named Peter? And this was a frustrating puzzle, to say the least. Just a matter of, I think, timing was all it really was. To light the different lights, the different flame lanterns in time. I don't think we've seen that gimmick since. Not to unlock a door, where you'd think that might be an established idea that would happen in all dungeons. Or some dungeons. Okay. So this is the point where we would find the creatures on the other side of this. I guess this guy really does want to fight. Hmm. I don't know why he wanted to fight. And this is really just, I guess it's getting us food so we could try to increase familiarity. But this is giving me a very inaccurate impression, I think, of what the game is really going to be once we get back into current level of difficulty. This is very much a pushovers characters, even if they are aggressive. One, it kills, and then when I get back to the main story, I'm gonna probably have to cast all kinds of spells and all kinds of tactics that I just don't really remember. I'm lucky that I even remember that there are spells and tactics. So, treasure chest there, treasure chest there. Yep, still cannot open that. So there's really no reason for me to even be here. Yep, it was a total waste of time to go back and revisit things. At this point, I need the final version of the wand before I revisit everything. By the time I get the final version of the wand, I suspect that is when we will also have everything get a lot more powerful. I imagine what will happen is Shadar, or whatever his name is, will see. Yeah, there should have been a prompt. On that other green chest, and I just couldn't find it. There'll just be nothing up here, almost certainly. Hmm. Yep. So that was a waste of time. Ideally, you would not have a scenario where it could be a waste of time. The act of going back. Oh, I'm surprised I missed that. And that probably indicates that there are some secret areas that I've just not recognized or found yet. But ideally, going back every time you enter a dungeon, the character should be reshuffled to your level, and as such, then they would be a challenge still. They'd give you some XP. You could really grind grind it out. Hmm. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else more to do. Yeah, good news is everything here to my eye looks the same, even using my old NVIDIA 970 GTX or whatever it is, graphics card instead of a 2070, 2080 RTX. I don't think this game has any ray tracing or anything in it. Let's see how this goes. I don't think I've even seen any of these creatures before. But major difference there in the amount of hits. It wasn't really a challenge so much either, but that was much more reasonable. We're getting much more reasonable amounts of gold and XP. So if we are going to grind anywhere, clearly the place to grind is the ocean. Just chasing after these guys. These guys don't really want anything to do with me. And I suspect not too much changes. During daytime or nighttime. Let's get that one. There's definitely a problem here where you're like taking a break in an RPG, and this would be true in pretty much any monster collectathon RPG game. Like taking a break has completely wiped my memory as far as who I've fought before, who I've captured or tamed. There's just no way I'm gonna keep a collection of 50 to 300 characters memorized after even a few days of not playing. Doesn't really look like there's anything here. But let's hop out and... I mean, there's just no telling, I guess. That's the problem. Is it... Alright. Let's see, which one? Trying to remember which special attacks would have done group attacks. Yeah, it does seem like it would be beneficial to grind a little bit. Alright, cut loose is, I think, the one we're looking for. Alright. I need to pay attention though to my health, because I think my health is lower than, or it was lower. It's refilled. Okay, attack. Go ahead, cut loose. Let's see, which one was... Hmm. Like, the defense is not high. Certainly here. I'm trying to figure out what button it was to make them go all out attack, all out defense. I think it's Y button. Seeming when you're in this cutscene, Y does all out attack. It is oddly just kind of going in circles here where your health seemingly just resets. See if we can cast a spell here. Okay, so we can't read what's on these stones, so there's going to be a whole point in this game where... Yeah, there's going to be a whole point in the game where you're going to have to come back and translate and read what's on these stones. Alright, so it's X is all out defense. And Y is all out attack. And we lost our guy, which is, I guess, fine. But yeah, if you lose Oliver, you start to lose really high chances of success. Right. There's a spell we need to be casting on ourselves multiple times. Hmm. Okay. Trying to see there. It looks like you might be able to get on the ship, and you might be able to get in like a cave. Upper hand, cut loose. These guys feel like they have a decent amount of defense. Although we also seem to already have one of those. Because it's important to remember that you lose quite a bit if you die. So I probably should save. Hmm. 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 I'm targeting the wrong one. Really? Hmm. So you can't do anything with the ship. I thought this little dark patch there might be an entrance. And then I thought this little dark patch might be an entrance. This is going to get definitely weirder the further we go down with this too, because um, once we can fly entering this little area, this coastal area, would be very easy to cross over to the coastal area and into the mainland area. Hmm. We're gonna, if I'm not careful, run out of patience, which is grinding. I was probably very impatient with this game. Last recording that airs, because that would have been 33 hours of doing this with there being very little difference. And I think I could probably metamorphose some other characters, and it probably is worth thinking about that. Let's see. So this guy is metamorphable at 33. Do I want to do that again? Who else is metamorphable at 31? There's only two. So how do we do this? We go over here and we select this. This would just give him familiarity increases. Chocolate bonbons, heaviness 3, happiness 3. Hmm. 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 See, there may very well be a. So it goes chocolate, fairy chocolate, and then chocolate bonbons. So you really would want to just give him chocolate bonbons. Hmm. All right. And I guess I want to keep the lower ingredients. And then at this point, it would be, do we want him to be dynamite or meramite? And I think we would just go with dynamite. And I think that at that point, that is the last level of evolution he can be. I don't think there's anything more that would ever let him be metamorphosable. And as far as familiarities, probably should be feeding some familiarity foods to some of these other people, but I kind of don't want to do that. And then as far as formulas, I bet I can't craft anything, and even if I could craft something, I'm not 100% sure I should craft anything. Yeah. It definitely feels like the crafting system in this game is a bit of an afterthought and something you could have left on the cutting room floor. Um, like by having this game be so complicated, it betrays the thought that this is supposed to be for kids. All right. Hmm. 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 Um, I don't know if my guy there just died because he passed out, if he or if he passed out because his health was just low to begin with. Could be kind of anything. You can see Mighty there went from level 1 to level 6 in one fight. So you definitely don't want to level up these guys very quick. I'm gonna run out of spells. It's a lone tree. Then this whole like collapsed building. Hmm. Now would definitely be the time to grind. Hmm. Hmm. No, he just does not have any defense at all. So you switch to her, and then you left bump. You throw him out, I guess. Hmm. 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 I don't know what to do here. Let's see. New slot. Save new slot. Make a save. It's been an hour. That makes sense. It doesn't seem like there's anything in this forest back here. Like, you could fast travel to an area. Why am I so low on health in the first place? It just doesn't make sense. Just inherently run around and try and heal yourself up. You have these different fighting arenas, which that's nice and all, but I don't know if it really means anything. Hmm. So that level up for Ollie Is that his name? I've forgotten all the names of the characters pretty much. That level up should have meant something or done something, but I'm not sure it really did. Like it should refill his health and magic, it would be my guess. Appears to be securely locked. Well, spring lock. Nothing happens. So there's nothing you can even do in that place. It's probably just another dungeon. Best case scenario is to sneak your way around here and attack this guy from behind and hope that we can beat this guy. We were not behind him. All right. Okay. I forget how much of this you really have to do as far as attacks. Hmm. 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 This guy's not that strong anymore. So that's a bounty hunt down. It's not even really that much XP though. Okay. And I don't think there's anything more in that general direction. So we may have to sneak back through the forest to get to the ship. Or we may get lucky enough that we can just walk around all of this to get to the ship. Not that the ship is particularly some kind of safe haven. Nope, there's no way through. And since we are at the hour point, this would be the point to go to the new story and have them spout a whole bunch of dialogue and cutscenes at us, as they have been tending to do. I'm just gonna see if I can avoid these characters. Nope, cannot. Let's see. Hmm. Hmm. Doing about. Hmm. Once again, passed out. This is getting ridiculous. Hmm. 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 Yeah, Swain. Swain is our last guy. This is ridiculous. Alright, so do we want to go back? Or do we want to just lose? 10% of your money, 600 is nothing. Yeah. That's a decent price for life refill and a um, fast travel. If these guys are running away from me, then that tells me I should fight them. Because clearly we need to do some more grinding for at least Mighty's. We'd like to see him do about 200 damage. But clearly defenses of the other characters play a role in this too. And they're not going to give me a ton of XP or a ton of experience, but there'll be a level of safety in it. Also by fighting smaller characters than going for overpowered characters. I think what it is pretty much boiling down to is whatever area the point in the story is pointing you to go to, that is the only area you should probably grind in. And yeah, we have the boat right now that lets us go in lots of different places and feels like it's kind of opening up the game when it really isn't. Man, this boat also frankly does not control very well. Um, yeah, that's again a gameplay mechanic that they could have skipped out on. Might have been a good idea to just have the boat be a thing that you charter or hire, not a thing that you actually control to move around. All right. So, hmm, hmm. Hmm. He's not doing enough. Hmm. Well, we got out of that with a serenade, but I'm dying every single time now. Which inherently, I guess that the problem here is I need all these characters at like level 30, and you have to be extremely careful if you're going to metamorphose anything because his defense will just be so low. And that's the problem right now is Mighty's defense is just so incredibly low that he's getting hit and taking a ton of damage on behalf of Ollie. Well, it kind of feels like it would have been nicer if Ollie's defense was universal and his attack was universal, and particularly for a kid's RPG, if that's really what this is supposed to be, which more and more it's obvious that it's not really supposed to be a kid's RPG, and that's it just looks like it's a kid-friendly RPG. Um, but yeah, a single attack stat, a single defense stat, a single magic stat, all of that being leader based instead of character based, and then you could play with any characters and you wouldn't have to grind individual characters, you just grind the leader out. I think that would work way better. So this is where the story is. So this is where we should grind. We're starting to see new characters. Hmm. Hmm. This is the new characters also that you would be wanting to capture. Hmm. 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 All right. I don't know if there's really going to be too much here. Seems like this is just going to be in a shoreline area that we fight through to get to the Sky Pirates. And I assume them being called the Sky Pirates is going to fairly quickly lead to them sending us at least on the beginnings of a path of getting a flying creature. Hmm. Hmm. I might be dropping the ball here on the concept of doing quests. Like, if I get enough stamps finished, let's see if we can look at that. Stamps would be where? Hmm. Hmm. I don't know where they would be. View stamp card. Okay. So right now we have no merit stamp cards collected. If we could get a bunch more, we could buy items at a slightly lower price, collect any glims that remain at the end of the battle automatically. That's probably a better thing to get. And then lower the cost of continuing a game, falling and defeating the battlefield. It's probably the last thing you really need. But yeah, obviously that's going to be a while before we get any of that done, because we're going to need a whole bunch of extra quests, which means we need to get to another city. Oh, I'm dead already. Smoke bomb. Hmm. 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 Yeah. And guys moving far too fast. I feel like they move fast either if they're flying or if they're a high level, so I should probably also look at the skills and see if he has a better skill. Hmm. Hmm. I'm trying to think if there's a defend button. I don't think there really is. I just think the problem is I'm not running around in circles. And this is a game that inherently wants you to run around in circles with the character. Hmm. These have to be approaching 3 tier evolutions of some of these characters, which it definitely would make some sense to. Oops. Well, serenading and catching one of them would have not ended the battle anyways, but I guess here we go. We could cast something like invisibility and try and sneak into the area. I don't think that benefits you in the long run. I think almost certainly we get into that area and it's either going to be a dungeon, which would make sense, or it would be a it would either be a dungeon or it would just be an arena. Yeah. It could just be an arena with one big boss fight. Alright, let's just see if we can do something here. Phoenix feathers are very expensive. Let's see, restore 200 HP to all allies, restore 150 to. If it's not labeled as a ingredient, then I probably could use it. I guess the question is there something like that that isn't labeled as an ingredient as far as magic power? No. They all seem like they're ingredients to something. And again, this is kind of a tight, narrow area to try and avoid people. It's so odd that it doesn't want to target the person next to you. It's just like twice totally ignored the fact that there was someone closer that they could attack. And it seems like it is getting just more and more difficult to actually serenade somebody and capture him. I don't know if I'm just not smashing the buttons fast enough or what. Big old question mark in the Skull Mountain. This would be probably as good of a place as any to save, but. Well, look everyone, it's enormous in here. And my goodness, what is it, Mun? Oh, I forgot about the whole Mun stuff. Nito, it's a huge ship. I forgot about Nito. I forgot how annoying all the dialogue in this game. A ship? Question mark. Well, if it is, it's a pretty flipping weird one. I mean, it's made out of metal for a start, and it hasn't got a sail. No, it hasn't. So how does it move? It uses its engines, of course, says Swain. Hang on, you don't know what it is, do you? It's a flying ship. They call them airships. This is an airship? Then does that mean? Yep, I reckon it does. We found the king of the sky pirates' hideout. Skull Mountain Den of the Sky Pirate. Nice little animation, 3D animation. With no voice acting. Brilliant. So, Kublai must be somewhere aboard. Hang on a sec. If this is a sky pirate hideout, where's all the flipping sky pirates? We'd best be careful, you lot. Gee, I wonder how it flies. Do you think he'll let us ride it? Oliver, this is no time to be daydreaming about flying ships. Oh, sorry, you're right. We need to find the map of the stones, huh? Blimey, you're such a kid, says Swain. Sorry, it won't happen again. Hey, only kidding. I know just how you feel. Let's concentrate on the stones for now, shall we? Sure, Swain. Let's sneak aboard and see what we can find. So apparently we're looking for a map of the stones. Okay. What that would explain the stones that we can't read. It's definitely save. I don't want to override any old slaves since it's been so long. So yeah, we're going to look for a map of the stones and then probably find some way in which we read that. Almost certainly there's going to be something there, some giant dragon later, if I was to guess. Either that or there's going to be an opening. We're back to another cutscene after walking around for half a second. Wow, it's so big. It's hard to believe that something so huge can actually fly. Boy, you lot, don't you think we're getting a bit too close? A bit too early? This is what usually happens before. Avast, who goes there? A flipping ambush. Oh no. So you filthy thieves are here to plunder our plunder. Hey, I'd take a look in the mirror before you call someone a filthy thief, my friend. Don't make them angry, Swin. They're bloodthirsty sky pirates. If you knew that girl, why'd you risk your pretty neck trying to sneak aboard? You're either mighty brave or mighty stupid. Knickers, we're flipping trapped. Trapped, I tell you. I don't know why they'd be particularly scared with two humans. See, we've fought much bigger things already, like crazy tanks and monsters. So now we get some voice acting. I have suspected that the captain would turn out to be some anime girl. But I guess this game's not going in that direction so much. Except for Esther. She's the only female character of note in the whole game besides the mothers. That's Kublai. That's him. Is it? Crikey. Look at the face on him. There's gruesome. We come here to speak to you. That's right. We have a favor to ask Captain Kublai, sir. Gar har har har. You stroll uninvited into my mountain stronghold, hoping to be granted a favor. Now, take note here. We got exactly one sentence of dialogue out of the voice acting. And now we're back to no voice acting again. On top of that, they're not even showing the eyes of the characters in the background. Talk about laziness. What are you, would-be heroes come to take back your plundered treasure? Grrr. By the skies. Boy, I'll hear you out. Come aboard. Hmm. That's quite a tale, lad. I guess I'm happy that they skipped the whole conversation. We didn't need to rehear the whole story. It would have helped me in my unique situation of having taken a break, but for most players, they don't need it recapped. And we've seen it recapped before, I think, in this game, and it was annoying. 'Tis true that I plundered that map, and I'd do it again. That lily-livered fop of a prince had it coming to him. Hey, don't talk about Marcos and Marcasian like that. Not now, Esther. We need those magic stones. Oh, yeah, the magic stones they're trying to find are the 3 magic stones for the wand to fully power up the 3rd level wand, not the magic stones on the map that we can't read. Yes, we do. We need them to help us defeat Shadar. By the sky, Shadar. You mean to cross swords with the Dark Jinn? That we do. We've got to stop him before he breaks the hearts of everyone in our world, ain't it? Yeah, yours included. Grr. You come aboard my ship and dare compare me to the sniveling wretches who fall prey to Shadar. Let him try and break me. I'll show that scurvy dog what it means to face a true adversary. Well, I'll say this for him. He's not lacking for confidence. Shadar ain't to be sniffed at. There's none knows that better than I, Fairy, so if you're looking to take on Shadar, you'll be possessed of the skills to do so, I take it. I, of course, you are, so this'll be child's play for heroes such as yourself. What will? Don't fret, lad, it's just a test of your swashbuckling skills. All in a day's work for a battle-hardened warrior such as yourself. Huh? What's that sound? Hmm. Hmm. I'm gonna get a couple lines of dialogue here. Red Dragon, the Scarlet Sentinel. Yep. So we need to try something there. This is like a boss fight that is gonna go very poorly for me. I think the thing I need to do is probably we probably need to figure out a strategy here. I probably need to change the tactics. I probably need to cast a spell. Crikey, I've never seen a dragon this big before, man. His flipping thing is proper vicious. Only hope is poison. Ollie boy, dragons hate this stuff. See, wait till it's guard down and have Swain shoot a blighter full of rotten muck, ain't it? Alright, let's see. Tactics. Give it all. I probably need to spell. Cast spells. 57 to do Arrow of Light. Increase the defense is probably not terrible. Thought. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see. Spell. Yeah. Esther is down. Pulse. Yeah, I wonder if I have to have Swain attack with poison, because I don't even think Swain like particularly has a poison attack. Or if this is just kind of a generic strategy. And see, this isn't, I think, a case so much where I have to. That's not what I meant to do. I don't think everybody has to be alive. So I'm not too worried that Esther is dead. I am fairly concerned now that Wayne is dead. This is definitely going to be too little too late. Mm-mm. 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 So, do I think I can just fight my way through this, or should I try and use a... I wonder, should I use a phoenix feather and revive somebody? Hmm. And I question whether or not provisions matter too much. Yeah, I don't think my spells are doing as much damage as I thought they were. Hmm. Am I doing this at the wrong time? All right. Come on. Yeah, it's annoying to say the least to just drop the ball at that point. Just lose more gold. Do I need to really continue? No, we can do this better. We can go back to the main menu. We can hit continue because that was, we saved right before then anyways. And then we'll skip all this and see if that's all considered a skip. Seriously? Saying it has no effect. Let's see. Trick shots. Rot shot. So he needs to do trick shots with this. Before we even get to this temp, before you even get to that, like, instructions. All right. So he's throwing in tidy tears on top of that. Why did that not revive Oliver, though? Just gotta get way better at defense, I think. Yeah, I'm just sitting there, though, getting my butt handed to me as far as I'm trying to defend. These trick shots don't feel like they work unless you get them at the right time. And it seems to be like it has to be somewhere when he's not attacking. And it doesn't seem like any other poison attack has a chance of succeeding. Yeah, and bringing back Oliver was a waste. We'll eat a Tiki Mahala and refill our health, I guess, and then we'll drink a strong coffee and refill our magic points, which we don't even use. Hmm. Why is this just having no effect now? Hmm. Though, like, do I need to get behind him? Hmm. If I went to tactics, hmm. Do what you like, give it all, keep us healthy. Don't use abilities. Hmm. 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 Like seriously, how am I supposed to? What am I supposed to do here? Just hope it runs out of time, and then that they decide to let you just win. I think the problem here. Let's just quit game. As stupid as this is. Let's hope that doesn't quit directly to the desktop. I think the problem here is that you have to keep the other team people alive, so you kind of have to play as Oliver. And then maybe switch over to Swain for a brief second. Again, you kind of need to switch tactics very quickly. So we select this. Tactics. Keep us healthy. Attack the leader's target. Do what you like. Do what you like. All right. And then why does that not work? It's not what I meant to do. It's ridiculous. Wait till his guard is down, then shoot the blade. When is his guard down? I guess that's it. Maybe if he gets closer, he would be able to do more damage. Clearly, the AI knows how to play Oliver better than I do. Should I try and do another trick shot when you have your chance? Or is that the time to potentially not fire? Clearly, though, what happens here is you just can't be off his guard if there's only one person on the field. Hmm. And so it's just a completely different experience if you can keep everybody on the field versus once things start going bad. Like, because once things start not going your way, then that's when things really do start to mess up. Hmm. Hmm. Come on, get another. Hmm. Hmm. And arguably, if this is the way that you have to win this fight, then the game has shifted for its focus somewhat away from Oliver being the main protagonist. Hmm. Now would be probably a decent time to go all out attack and just risk it. Because I may just may not be able to get that final thing. There's a gym that was up. Hmm. Hmm. One of the showstopper gyms was on the ground, but it flew away before I could touch it. Hmm. 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 Oliver decides to cast Burning Heart, which I think that is a showstopper attack if I was to guess. Hmm. 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 Esther is about to die. Just keep him. Hmm. Hmm. Magic power. And Oliver's probably gonna die. That was the wrong. Oh, Mugshot stole something from him. Interesting. Hmm. So he could just like he could have been mugshotting characters this whole time. Hmm. No. Isn't carrying anything. Okay. Um, we need to provision ourselves a strong coffee. And maybe we need to provision ourselves all over a strong coffee too. Mm. Mm. Hmm. Hmm. He's really close, but we are just like nickeling and diming him here. At a certain level, this is probably the level of challenge that a dragon fight should be. This also might be kind of the midway point of the entire story, because I am not particularly expecting that we're going to end up fighting a dragon, and it's not unheard of to end up fighting some dragon form of some big boss guy in a Final Fantasy RPG, JRPG type game, and it not really making the most amount of sense. I feel like hmm, like the game was intentionally making it impossible to poison them, but obviously that's not the case unless it just gave up on that. Music I could see could get fairly repetitive there for such a long fight. That's major level ups for lots and lots of characters, but a lot of these characters honestly should be probably kept at their certain levels and not brought, not metamorphosed up to the next level. Like it's gonna be really dangerous if all of a sudden three or four of them can be metamorphosed at the same time, and I get tempted into doing that. Like, and now we're back to more dialogue again with no voice acting. Well, now there's not many face the old girl's breath and uh, come away unsinged, lad. You're a plucky one, and no mistake. Dot dot dot. What? Why would you set her on us if you knew she was that dangerous? Yeah, man. What are you doing calling in a massive, great big dragon all of a sudden like that? I nearly flipping wet myself. Silence, dogs. I'll ask the questions here. The wand, where did you get it? What does it matter to you? And we won't let you have it, no matter what you do to us. It matters to me because the accursed thing's not supposed to exist. The queen must hear of this. What queen? Never you mind. Now follow me. The map's aft in my cabin. So we may find out that he isn't the Kubala. All right, grumpy guts. We're still the good guys, right? I only ask because the king of the sky pirates appears to like us, says Swain. And again, this is where voice acting would be very helpful. You're kidding, ain't you? We did it, Oliver. Let's go and look at the map. Esther still being very chipper, and Oliver probably is going to be fairly chipper too, considering they just fought a dragon. What are you worms waiting for? Move your scurvy carcasses. Hmm. This is what you came for here, the map of the stones. And yeah, I thought for a second there we might get the 2D Ghibli animation style, but honestly, I suspect we'll barely see it at all for the rest of the game. This here X marks where the stones must be hidden. A remote island makes sense, I suppose. Well, what are we waiting for? We've got a ship. Let's sail there and find him. Pipe down, girl. Do you think the boats of those seafaring simpletons could reach, or even the mighty iron wyvern could not go? What the flip are you on about? It's a sight more complicated than that. I feel like I've already been on that island. The wyvern here is too large to land on solitary isle, and the seas around the rotten little rock are riddled with reefs. Jeepers. So we can't get the stones? Don't start sniffling just yet, lad. There's a way, all right? On the back of Tingri, winged dragon and master of the skies. None flies faster or higher than the pride of my pack of wild worms. Crikey, that's impressive sounding. Come on then. Where's this Tingri? Well, now, fairy, that is the rub. Tingri has been struck down with the dreaded lurgy and flies no longer. Lurgy? You mean he's sick? God, nothing's ever easy, is it? Don't speak too soon. We have the mighty wizard Oliver on our side, after all. You mean to heal him? Well, I can't promise anything, but it's worth a try, I reckon. Ollie boy, here's a spell or two to... Here's... Ollie boy here's got a spell or two up his sleeve that might get your dragon friend back on the wing. Man, I'm really screwing up reading this stuff. It's just so much misspellings and slang or colloquialisms. Yes, you must have something that will work, Oliver. Let's go and meet this dragon, shall we? Sure. Where can we find Tingri, Captain Kublai? No doubt the great lump will be cowering in a corner of the cave somewhere, feeling sorry for himself. See what you can do. Thanks. Come on, everyone. We have a dragon to save. I hope we can help him. You lot love nothing more than a charity case, do you? So, let's see. Map. The map is not particularly super detailed. So, I would suspect that there isn't much to this. You can look around and see if there's maybe a pot or a chest around here, but I would suspect there isn't much of anything else. And I bet we don't spend too much time in this environment. We might start to feel a real rushing of the rest of the game, and we may just see smaller areas like this with fewer people, no broken-hearted people, nobody with quests for us, no shops. It would be kind of weird if there were shops in this area, but it wouldn't be super unexpected. And I'm just gonna smash the A button through it. Hey, we got some new alchemy formulas. So it was worth it to talk to people. That being said, let's check that cauldron. New. So, chocolate bonbons would require 2 bars of chocolate, which I guess is worth it, but then it also needs jars of bumbling honey and fung drops. It seems like a lot. And yeah, it does seem like what this is letting you do is effectively craft higher level items, which arguably it may not be a smart move to do that. Otherwise, we have some other kinds of things that we might be able to craft if we had the items. Really have a real question as far as, is this stuff really ever going to be that craftable? Because I just don't see how I'm going to grind out and play this game that much to have all of these ingredients. Yep. And inherently, if we get back to the mobile game for a second, almost certainly there would be some level of ingredients that would be microtransactions or something that you would be particularly scarce. And RPGs have already always had that problem of there being too many in-game type currencies and um, and microtransactions not really existing in JRPGs, but things as monotonous and expensive. They just didn't cost real world money. They cost real world time. Um, at 2 hours and 6 minutes, I know we didn't really accomplish too much today. It does seem like we, like, overall could have done a lot more. Like, I could come over here and like feed these guys to this guy and try and get his attack up a little bit. But moving his single attack up is not really going to do anything for me. I could try to metamorphose this character since we just had a big battle. And this is probably not a bad idea. Let's see. What is he? Let's just try, I guess, to give him everything. These are tricks. You don't want to give him tricks. Okay, so this guy hasn't even evolved once. Hmm. 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 I don't think anything else is metamorphosable at the moment. So, yeah. Then if we were to... Let's see. Switch. Dynamite is still the right kind of character. In the right spot. See if this one has some spells. Tricks. Clearly you need something here. Single damage. Health. Short circuit. I guess we'll do short circuit. Like, there's a decent chance that some of these tricks could also be replaced. But it's kind of hard to tell. And I don't think we really have, like, equipment issues. Yeah, wait a minute. Why is this equipped? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. What? Have I just never properly equipped the thing? Yeah, I don't the thing that sucks here is that you are just going to have to figure out who is like the best person to potentially put this on. And yeah, I just don't know. It's far too much stuff. What was that dragon fang that we stole from the dragon? Maybe I didn't do it in the final battle. Yeah, it's pretty impossible to figure it out. Hmm. Yeah, and if I wanted to just equip the stalwart scale, which is +3 defense, anywhere there's a sturdy scale and a piercing fang. Actually, I already have these. The only ones that are in the bag. Oh, I forgot how terrible the system really is. It is just absolutely awful. It is so bad. Let's see. If I'm looking at these quests, yeah, I could do a couple of them. Or try and do a couple of them. But I'm not going to finish 3 stamp books. And then there's some more places that I'd have to, I guess, go for these hunts. Yeah, I feel like you are going to run into a point when the story is going to tell you to go back and do everything, that you don't have any more potential. Like, it's going to tell you don't have any more points in which you can save or move forward. I guess we're probably done with the life lessons. We ran around somewhat, so I wouldn't be surprised if the number and variety of these characters has increased. But it's going to be practically impossible scrolling through this to realize that. There's just too many characters. Yeah, and there's still very much an indication that there are going to be 2 times in which we go back and fight each of these characters, or some variant of those characters. We may very well still be in the first act. And yeah, Ding Dong Well, we know we couldn't get everything there. And then progress report, like the Wizard's Companion completeness is at 52%, so maybe storyline wise we're about halfway through the game. Task completion though, and alchemy completion very low. Creature compendium very low. There's still 2 things under progress report that doesn't even register. Anyway, so I'll just wrap up this episode saying that everything looks fairly good on my side using the less RAM, older RAM in the computer, my old video card in the computer. At any point, if the problem with my computer is still happening, it'll just randomly reboot and potentially break some component. Honestly, there is a chance that if I have not fixed it with a motherboard BIOS update, then I may very well have to just replace the motherboard from an AMD motherboard to an Intel motherboard and an AMD CPU to a Intel CPU, and just go back to the other companies. Um, which that would certainly be expensive and crazy to have to do that. Is this has been the weirdest computer problems I've ever had, where it's just practically impossible to figure out what the problem is, to have such a difficult problem happening, a dangerous problem happening, and then not be able to really diagnose it and not be able to fix it. Like, I've really never had this problem before. The closest thing I've ever had is just bad wiring in a house short circuiting a video card, and that's about it. Anyways, well, yeah, ignoring all the problems I've been having with the computer, that definitely caused the delay that's making this a rough rebooting of playing Ni no Kuni, in which I'm going to have to get better at moving faster and not just grinding out and moving the story forward. Otherwise, there is a big danger of this becoming just incredibly, incredibly long and exhausting. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.